one of the most fun teams to watch over the last month or two, especially since that Jakobi Meyers trade. Man, I'm excited to talk about this. But buying or selling the Jags as Super Bowl contenders, Trevor?
I'm buying the Jags. I am.
I am too.
And I hate to just be like, oh, I'm buying every team. I'm not buying every team in the AFC. I know we can recap that maybe if we don't give the full breakdowns of some of these teams. But I have to buy the Jags specifically because I have just so much faith in that coaching staff there. I mean, it's not Liam Cohen, just Liam Cohen. Like, it's Udinski, it's Campanelli, it's like all of those guys on both sides of the ball have these guys playing so well. Yes. And what I love the most about the Jags is I understand, like, over the last month, 4 or 5 week sample size, Trevor Lawrence has played fantastic, right? I mean, like, he has been some of the best versions of himself really over the last month. And obviously that's where everybody looks to, because they're like, oh, Trevor Lawrence is fixed and all that. But even throughout the beginning part of the season, like when Trevor Lawrence was struggling and the Jags were sometimes still winning games, what I pointed out was Liam Cohen's an excellent, like, run game offensive mind as well. And I don't think he gets enough credit for that, just because when he was with Kentucky, right, everybody talked about him and Levis. Yeah. When he was out in LA, it was him and Stafford. When he was with the Bucs, it was him and Baker Mayfield. And now obviously he was with Jacksonville. All the talk is like, oh, can he fix Trevor Lawrence, all this kind of stuff. But, and obviously, like, the quarterback gets the highlights. But as a Bucs fan, what I really saw from him that I liked that was different than Canales from the year before, because remember, both of those guys were just one and done offensive coordinators and play callers in Tampa Bay, is with Canales, that whole year went by and Tampa just struggled to kind of find an identity on offense. Yeah. It was a very even split between, like, zone blocking scheme stuff and more like power stuff between the tackles, more like gap scheme runs. And it just didn't feel like Canales was able to find what the Bucs actually did best. And you'll be close to 50, but when you identify, I think, the strengths of your offensive line and the backs who are taking the ball, you kind of lean a little bit one way or the other. At least I think that that's normally the case. With Liam, he kind of did that in the first half of the season with the Bucs, but then in the second half of the season, he very much was like, we are a better downhill run team. Like I'm trying to get to the outside. We're trying to run outside zone. We're trying to let Chris Godwin be a great blocker and Mike Evans be a great blocker and all that stuff to the outside. But he's like, Bucky is better between the tackles, and he is our best back, and we are leaning much more into that. And there you saw Bucky continue to even have an even better second half than I think that he did in the first half, and I think it's because he was able to identify that. And I think when we got towards the middle of the season, I started recognizing some of the efficiency numbers in the run game, whether it was Travis Etienne or Bashal Tutin or whoever it was, go up. And he was able to identify those strengths in the backs and on his offensive line to have a healthier run game to complement everything else. Now you've added Jakobi Meyers, who is a great blocking wide receiver, and you got Parker Washington as well. And so now all of a sudden, it's so funny looking at this Jags offense that was basically Brian Thomas Jr. or bust through the first 4 or 5 weeks of the year. And now it's like, yeah, all right, if he catches a couple of balls, it's all right, but probably going to win anyways. And now he's just become this complementary piece to an overall offensive ecosystem that is incredibly efficient and successful. So when you have a coach that can scheme up, can call, can execute things in a balanced way, run and pass the way that Liam Cohen is, I've got to take this team as buyers, especially because just on the defensive side of the football, I trust the talent, the aggressiveness they have there as well.
Yeah, their O-line, their defense, I kind of group the same. It's like, it's not the most talented unit I've ever seen, but they are well schemed. Nothing they do, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, right.
They just play super, I don't know, efficient.
I don't know if sound is the right way, but like if they lose, it's because a guy's just losing as opposed to a guy just going to the wrong spot, if that makes sense. It's a physical loss, not a mental loss. And I think that's significant and why I get optimistic about schemes and what's going on. Sometimes nothing gets better. I'm looking at you, Cardinals. And sometimes it does just keep getting better and better and better as they get more talented. They kind of like hone in the weaknesses or kind of just shy away from what they're bad at. And I think I mean, the Meyers trade, like it started kind of for me as like a tongue in cheek kind of bit. Like I was like, this is the most important player in the NFL. And it's actually come true. And it's kind of like, because like they are legit top 10 offense. And since he's joined the team since week 10, I mean, this team right now, the Jags are 6th in DVOA, just overall. They're 15th in offense. I bet you since week 10 it's higher. 7th in defense, and they're 5th in special teams too. They got a weapon at kicker, and their punter's pretty good. And
Dude,
their units are pretty good. But since week 10, when Meyers joined, 4th in points per drive, 6th in score rate, so just score percentage on drives, 5th passing success rate, 5th passing DVOA, 4th in explosive dropback rate. And I thought the most significant one are these two stats right here. They're 4th in pass attempts at 10 or more air yards, and now 30th in yak percentage. And if you just think of Trevor Lawrence and his offenses, and with Doug Peterson and everything, goes so dinky dunky, so many screens, so many quick hitters. And they just said, well, if you look at that pass catching group, BTJ's not amazing. You know, he's okay on some screen stuff, but you want him downfield. Jakobi Meyers, you want him intermediate and doing dirty work stuff. He's not a yak guy. He's just a strong pass catcher. Parker Washington, kind of the same thing. They're kind of cut from the same cloth in a way. That kind of starts making sense. Brent Strange, solid receiver and everything, but I'm not going to like dial up a whole bunch of underneath stuff from him. He's a good athlete and everything, but so everything you were just saying about how Liam Cohen figures out kind of like, hey, we're not good at this, but we're good at this. Once Meyers came in, it all crystallized. And Trevor Lawrence is shown, I mean, that was always gotten him in trouble in the past, is sometimes he has a heat check moment, especially in the red zone, which even happened last week. He had a great game last week, like just a nice kind of sharpshooter game, and then he gets the one pick in the red zone because he blacks out and tries to go for a kill shot. And
that was also, you talk about the Indianapolis one, the one that just happened.
He moved
that was
in the
also
pocket, and he changed his angle, like it was,
and it was also just like a hell of a play from Jermaine Pratt.
It was awesome.
Right? Like it was a post clear out route against, I think it was Quarters, if I remember correctly, or maybe it was
Quarters in the red zone. He carried.
And he's clearing it out, and then you got an out and up that the linebacker not only has to carry out, but then up, and he did like in the hip pocket. And so it's like, okay, that was kind of, so it was a little underthrown, but even that one, I just go, all right, Jermaine Pratt, good play.
Yeah,
good play.
It was a great example of like the red zone too, like angles and timing matter so much because Trevor stepped up into the right, and that changed the angle of his kind of whole shot throw. So now you're throwing at the back right shoulder of Pratt, as opposed to if you're in the pocket and true, you're throwing it over the left shoulder of Pratt.
That makes sense.
Just change throw angle. Yeah, I know. I watch too much Jags, but this is the run game for them is confusing to me because it was good in the first half of the year, and I think, but statistically, and I was like, it's not all perfect. The line's not great. They know what they are. I think that maybe is the best way I can put it. They know what they are. And I think they just kind of know, okay, we're not good at this. We're not going to have you just double team all these guys because you guys will lose over time. So we have to do a lot of jet motion. We have to do a lot of shifting and get into the right play. That's why they run so many plays to the play clock to zeros, because they're trying to get to the perfect play. It's a McVay line of thinking. It's very hard to do, but you can see the benefits, the dividends that are getting paid from doing the hard stuff now that you see, especially with Meyers joined. But rushing wise, since week 10, 25th rushing DVOA, 30th in rushing success rate on running back runs, which I thought was significant. But I think, again, if they can just get that just a little bit better, somewhere between what they showed the first couple months and what they showed in the last month, this is a very live team, very, very live team. I think the defense is very opportunistic. I think they are really well schemed. It's not the perfect defense, but they really just know what they're doing in situations, and they have enough juice. I mean, Walker's been so good since he's come back. But sorry, last little thought there. You mentioned the Bucks and Liam Cohen going from the Bucks to the Jags, and why the Bucks are confusing to me is like they kept the O-line coach. The backs are back. Now they're getting healthier. The O-line got healthier. I know they're out mock. But the offense line's gotten healthier. Something I kind of noticed was all that packaging play stuff. This is my theory. Cohen's run game brain is better for that. And I think the Bucks this year are trying to do the same thing to emulate that, but kind of don't know the secret sauce. Like they kind of go, oh, we're going to kill this play to this play. But the second play they kill to is into a loaded box or to a bad number count and everything. So it's like, the process is the same, but what they're getting to is worse. It's just a theory I have mine because I know you are. I've been trying to figure out what the hell the Bucks are.
I mean, they just have we could talk about this a little bit more if we touch on Tampa, but like they just have a major lack of identity on offense. And I think because of the lack of identity throughout the entire season, they've just sort of leaned back on like, here you go, Baker. And unfortunately, that's been really bad this year because Baker Mayfield was an MVP candidate 6 weeks through the season. From week 7 to week 17, he's been one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. He has the most turnover-worthy plays in the NFL. He has the 4th most uncatchable, inaccurate passes. He has the 4th worst turnover-worthy play percentage overall. Like he just, and I don't. Some people are like, "Hey, he's hurt." I hope it is.
Right.
I hope he's hurt at this point because this is now way too long of a stretch. We're 2.5 months now to where he has just not been nearly consistent enough for them to win games. And I think that to your point, sort of like how the offense is set up isn't really doing him any favors either. So I think it's just a bad year overall.
The easy buttons aren't as easy.